Well, motherfucking well. Welcome back to Krown's Crypto Cave. We have plenty to talk about today. It's a new month. Holy shit, that was loud. Jesus Christ, sorry about that. My own eardrum's getting wrecked up over there. Hope everyone's having a nice Monday to start this new month off of new opportunities. It's a whole new vista out there to do whatever the fuck that you want in your life. So perhaps we'll be looking at a little bit of Bitcoin today. And there's actually a lot of things to be speaking on the higher term timeframes because we do have a new monthly. So we'll go through all of the higher term timeframe looks. And of course, follow up on the lower term timeframes as well, as Bitcoin actually did take a nice little stab down to what, 43,000 bucks it looks like overnight. Not bad at all. Now playing out a little bit of bullish divergences on our lower term time frame. So we'll follow up on that, of course, as always. And well, before all of this, I would like to wish you the best and the happiest, because why the fuck not? It's free to do, and hopefully can just only add to good things within this world. So with that said, into the Krown Chain application we go, which can be found, by the way, at app.krownchain.net, and it is 100% free. Anyways, what really sticks out like a sore thumb right here is something massive, actually. The fear and greed index coming all the way down to a 38 when Bitcoin is, it's not like actually bearish here, which is the funny thing. So a bit of an overaction of this market. It's actually going to fit into the more long-term analysis on this asset. In fact, I'll kind of just spoil the beans right now. Jesus Christ, man. Okay, some of these comments are just blinding me right now. I need to actually hide them for a second. Sorry about that. But I'll spill the beans a little bit right now. Bitcoin on the higher term timeframes is showing some extreme opportunities, which is going to play into the lower term timeframe analysis. So that is going to be a big focus of today. Anyways, what else do we see? Bitcoin dominance heading actually down a little bit from about 61.5 to 61 even today. And we do see that open interest also kind of hovering around the same area as well at about 7 1/4, we'll say. So not really much of a change there. And into the market data tab we go, just kind of judge exactly what we've been seeing. And we do see a small uptick in price here. Obviously it is downtrending on our line chart. And open interest is more or less flat, and the funny rate is more or less flat as well. Both inconsequential, and both I look at as having a nice reset for this next phase. With that in mind, this next phase can take some time, so I don't want to make this sound like this is happening today or tomorrow, but this is more of like, when we're looking at a monthly, we're looking at like, a few weeks of price action, really. Anyways, fear and greed index, you can see falling off a cliff essentially. And again, this is kind of showing the overreaction of this market right now. While yes, Bitcoin was bearish on some time frames, higher term timeframes are still very much unscathed here. So looking at this, this is quite the surprise. We're seeing the lowest read on the fear and greed index since, at least, I'd guess since like September of last year, because we don't show the data past December, it looks like. So the last time that Bitcoin was actually, playing out a nice nasty downside move is probably around that $11,000 to $10,000 move in September. So it's been quite some time, and more importantly, this would actually play into the long-term Bula-ish analysis. Of course, again, when we're talking about the very short-term timeframes, not going to play all that much, but it does offer up a little bit more of an optimistic long-term view, because what you'd expect to see is Bitcoin to be more or less neutral as far as sentiment goes, as Bitcoin essentially just kind of holds the range on the higher-term timeframes. Also, on top of that, like we said, open interest is more or less flat here from the last few days, so not really much to update there. And then the funny rate is very interesting here. We see OKX, which was actually negative yesterday, at a much more exorbitant negative rate now, which means that you are getting paid to hold your longs there. So if you are accumulating at these levels, which will show soon enough with the monthly, it's rather interesting. You're actually getting paid to hold those. Now, on the other side, we do see that FTX is a little bit of an outlier, as it typically is, but everyone else is more or less at parity, and I don't look at that as anything concerning at all whatsoever. In fact, this is, again, a bit of a reset here, which is more or less good for the long term. So with that in mind, I think we don't need to waste any more time here. Of course, there's plenty of other metrics, but I do want to really get into the monthly analysis here because there's just so much to talk about. And let's just go right into it with the secondary charts. So Bitcoin did close the monthly above the topside Toronto band. Once again, did close above 45,000 bucks, both of which are good. Now, the topside Toronto band has risen up aggressively, not as aggressively as I would have expected from yesterday, but still, this actually does play into the greater analysis here that the topside is going to be right around about 40,000 bucks. So I would look at any sort of a move below 40,000 bucks as a major opportunity. This is also supported by the one thing that I look at around the end of the month and beginning of next month, and that is the accumulation distribution indicator right here. The slope of this has been just about perfect in judging every macro switch up in trend for Bitcoin since the eternity of history for Bitcoin. And as you can see, not only do we still have a positive slope, it's actually increased its curvature here, which is incredibly fucking interesting. Remember last month in February where we actually saw it was still a positive slope, obviously, but it did decrease its curvature. We did see Bitcoin essentially play out. I mean, still an upside month, but kind of closing on a bit of a down note and sideways note. Well, this would play into the long-term narrative that Bitcoin is still very much good here. And any sort of a downside move likely does get reaccumulated. Now, I will briefly show this to you just, for full transparency. And of course, you are more than welcome to grab this indicator for yourself. It's free on TradingView, so there you go. But it's accumulation distribution indicator. And again, all I care about is the slope on this one. And you can backtest this one all you want. And it's pretty much been perfect. I mean, the last time that we had a slope change was back in May of 2020, right? That was actually coming out of the coronavirus dump right here, telling you to essentially long at about 8600-ish region, and continue to be long the whole way goddamn through. Before that, we did have a bit of a slope change right here, right at the top before the coronavirus dump. Rather nice now, isn't it? And then, of course, before that, we had a slope change all the way back in February 2019 before the breakout from 4,000 to 14,000. And before that, we had a slope change in the $12,000 bull trap right here in 2018, going all the way from about 12,000 to 3,000 bucks. And before that, if we want to do it once again, we can see this whole move from about 2015 in August to basically 20,000, although there was a bit of a downward slope right here. And to be fair, we actually did play out a couple months of downside, but at the end of the day was reaccumulated. So with all of that in mind, I do look at this as long-term good, and it does mean that any sort of a short-term downside that we do see in March, I would be looking to get reaccumulated. That, again, plays into what we looked at right over here with the open interest going sideways at this level, with the fear and greed index having a major drop-off based off of, I mean, realistically, Bitcoin's closing on new all-time fucking highs on the monthly. Like, how ridiculous is it to be pessimistic in a market? Like, I don't get it. Well, it's not that I don't get it. It's just, you can see the very elusiveness of the fear and greed index, which is very representative of people's, short-term emotions in a way. On top of that, obviously the funny rate having a bit of a reset. I do look at this as all good things coming into March. Doesn't mean that March is going to be, green dildos to the heavens immediately or even at all. It could be a sideways month. But my point is that it will be an option. It will very, 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 very likely be a month of opportunity. So with that in mind, I do want to go into the lower term timeframes now and follow up from yesterday's short-term timeframe analysis as we go over to our regular charts over here. Actually, should be noted that the 2 days actually bouncing off the 21. So fair enough. We actually did see the breakage of the 4 hour yesterday below about 44.3 it was, or did we? Yes. We wait, hold on. Yes. Yeah, we did. Okay, yeah, it was 43,300 on the closure right there. And Bitcoin playing out a bit of a downtrend. Now, of course, on the other side, we are going to have bounces along the way, and we do have 1, 2, 3 drives of bullish divergence come off the lows, 1, 2, 3 right there, and pop back up to the 21. Classic shit. Do I think that it get a little bit more here? Yes, I do actually. I do think that Bitcoin can get a little bit more of a rally here. But at the end of the day, I do think that there is still a bit of pressure down, and I would absolutely love to see a move to the topside Toronto band on the monthly. It doesn't mean we're going to absolutely 100% get it, but it would be a very, very obvious opportunity, at least in my eyes. Anywhere around 40,000 bucks, or especially below 40,000 bucks, as I've been saying, 39 would be my predestined area. But looking at the short-term timeframes right now, does that look like that's going to happen today or tomorrow? Probably not. No, as we do see momentum turning back up, we do see bullish divergence of 3 drives right here. So first things first, probably a bounce. And how high can this bounce be? Well, still, theoretically speaking, we are working on lower highs right here. To be fair, has not confirmed a local high just yet, but as you can see, we are working on lower highs and do have structural issues as long as Bitcoin's below about 48,500-ish region. So we will put on the drawing tools for what it's worth right now, and it's basically the same things what we've been looking at for the last like what? I guess a week or so now, few days, whatever it is. Anyways, 48,500 going to be that short-term pivot, I'd call it, to the upside, meaning that Bitcoin does take this area out. I would look for a rally back up somewhere around about 50,000 bucks, but still, I look at this as overall pressure down with 40,000 bucks, give or take, about 1,000 bucks from that number as a likely target, as long as Bitcoin's below the $51,000 pivot right here. There is pressure down. We are still working on lower highs on the medium-term time frame. So while short-term timeframes do have a bit of a short-term rally here, I would be cognizant of that, because I'd personally speaking, I'd just absolutely love to see that opportunity, because I think that that's just one of the more obvious ones that we've seen in recent times. Anyways, I'm curious if CME does agree with this on the short-term timeframes, and no, actually, you can see that CME is looking a lot more obviously short-term bearish here, being kept below that 47,500 pivot, as you can see. Anyways, we do not have the same sort of divergences present on CMEs. We did have that 1-2 drives of bullish divergence right here. That already played out to the 21 on about a $3,000 move, $4,000 move actually. Jesus, man, 44.5 to what? 49. God damn. Crazy shit, man. You're not always going to get moves like that, but I guess when you're playing with big numbers, it does make a little more sense. And right now, looking like it wants to slink back on over. Technically speaking, momentum oscillators are going to have a chance to cross back onto the upside here, but it doesn't look. It still looks a little bit under pressure, is what I'm trying to say. So typically speaking, on Monday when CME opens back up freshly and spot price actually has been trading all over the weekend, the oscillators are usually not in agreement with each other between spot and CME. So in this case, I typically do favor CME. So I do think that I would put more, importance on what we're seeing right here in comparison to what we're seeing on spot. And on CME, it's actually a little bit more obvious from a structural standpoint as well. You can see this as a nice pivot right around that 48.5 region. So I do like that as solidified. We can throw a nice, or we can just put on our drawing tools right there. What I'm talking about is this guy right here. Obviously to the top side, that's your $51,000 region. On CME, it reads a little bit higher because there is a premium over spot price action. And then to the bottom side, technically speaking, it would be about 45,000 bucks, and has not actually broken it here either because it doesn't trade over the weekend. And seeing as CME doesn't trade over the weekend, I am a little bit skeptical of that, of that initial break that we did see on Bitcoin. So first things first, very likely a bounce. How does the bounce play out too? I don't really have any like specific targets in mind. I just have these pivots right here at about 48.5, and then above there we have the $50,000 to $51,000 level, of which that is all operating on lower high territory. Above 51,000 bucks, that's where I do look for another medium-term time frame move of about 4,000 bucks to 55,000, and that's where the long-term can once again get into trending mode to the upside. So as long as that's not happening, I'm not looking for Bitcoin to like make new all-time highs. But if that does start to happen, that's when I do look at this as once again in breakout territory, and I can use that as a continuation point. But for now, a little bit of sideways to perhaps downside on the lows, and then sets it up maybe a little bit later this month for that test down, and then I'll be looking at major opportunities for Bitcoin to get picked back on up, because there's really nothing too damning about the long-term look right now, and more importantly, all of the underlying market dynamics and I was going to say fundamentals. I guess some of them would be considered fundamentals, are still not really signaling any major warning signals. In fact, they're looking more like opportunities, assuming that criteria that we laid out at the beginning of this video is met. So that's kind of what's at stake right now. And if we do go through the CME lower term timeframes, let's see what we got right here. We are on the 3 hour right now. We do see 3 hour Stokes actually technically up right now. However, doesn't look all that compelling. We do see 3 hour RSI, kind of same thing. I wouldn't be surprised if it does come back down, take another stab, and put in a third drive of bullish divergence, and then play out a bounce. What about the bi-hourly right here? Same thing. We are seeing Stokes kind of just trend, just slightly tread above ice here to the upside, with price action essentially putting in what looks like a potential lower high once again. And do we have that same sort of divergence as present here? I mean, technically yes, but that's certainly already played out on that move from about 44 to 40 to 48.5. So I'd say that's very much already been tapped into. And what does the hourly say? Do we see full on orchestration between all the lower term timeframes? Pretty much yes. All lower term timeframes Stokes are pointed northwards right now. But with price action putting in what looks like potentially lower high right here, I would be looking at this as, again, not necessarily a threat just yet. I do think that Bitcoin plays out a little bit of a range and then probably takes another stab lower, and then that's your opportunity time. Hey, what's up, Tokyo Channel? Hey, thanks for that, brother. Very much appreciated, man. And fuck yeah, I wish you a great day as well, man. I wish you a great day. Let's go through the medium-term timeframes now and see what we got going on over here. 12-hour kind of slinking down. Again, CME a little bit more obvious than spot, in the sense that we haven't really put in a nice little stop and reverse point just yet. Spot looking a little bit more like this, which is kind of hanging on by a thread and needle. But I do, again, favor CME with momentum oscillators still pointed southwards. I do look at this as more of a threat to have a medium-term timeframe downside move after playing out the short-term timeframe bullish divergence. Now we're just getting, like, I need to be a little more clear in what I'm saying. Okay, so all right, so here's what I'm talking about. 4 hour right here, we do see a 1, 2, 3 drives of bullish divergence. So the short term, I do think could play out a little bit more of an upside move, maybe back up to about 48.5 region. Don't have really strong opinions about that. My strong opinion is on the short term time frame downtrend. Then the medium term time frame, still a little bit angled to the downside. It does make me still consider that Bitcoin has perhaps a leg down to about 40,000 bucks. 40,000 bucks is the very big pivot, because that is the topside trolling band right here, which our accumulation distribution indicator Twitter is giving the bias that this is going to be a pretty big opportunity, seeing as we did get a massively positive slope for the month of, coming into the month of March, which is typically a damn good thing. So with all of that in mind, any sort of a downside move to the $40,000 level, give or take, a few bucks from there, is a major opportunity in my eyes. However, going back to our short-term timeframes right here, is that move going to happen like this instance? Probably not, no, because Bitcoin is playing out a lot of these short-term moves for right now. So again, a month is a long time. It's about 30 days. I don't know how long March is. Actually, funnily enough, I have a calendar right here, and it's 31 days. It's even longer. So with all that said, I would be looking for all of that to happen this month. In what order doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. I just look at that area as a major opportunity. Anyways, into the medium-term timeframes we go for spot price action. Do we see anything of particular interest right here? Do we see any sort of divergences actually going on? Potentially. What is this? 39.30 so far versus 40.55. So technically speaking, we do have a lower low on RSI. Do we have a confirmed local low on price action? No, we do not. What about CME? Is not really looking that way either. So I'm kind of inclined to say that this is unlikely to work out as such. This to me looks like a downtrend in motion. Now CME is a lot more obvious of a chart right here for good reason, but mostly because we do see, a clear lower high and then a clear neck, or what would be a neckline, or I'd just say, nice horizontal structural support right around about 45,000 bucks. Any sort of a closure below there, and yes, 40,000 to 39,000 bucks is where I'd be looking towards. That fulfills our monthly play, and then, very, 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 very likely, at the very least, a nice bounce from that region. Personally speaking, I would say that bounce high chance of turning into reversal and being the next major move within this market. So again, I do think that it's going to require a little bit of patience, and I think it also should be noted that we do not see the same sort of divergences here on what's it called on RSI. And sorry, when I go back on over here, did I completely biff that up? Yeah, I think I did biff this up. That's not even a word. Yes, this is not divergence right here. We are not making higher lows on RSI. I got my head all wrapped around in the wrong way. Actually overslept my usual 5 a.m. wake up time, and I wake up at 7 a.m. It's kind of strange, but brains may be operating a little bit slower today, but no, that would not even be bullish divergence right here. So again, even on the medium-term timeframes, I do think that there's a little bit more of a threat of a downside move here. What about the daily? Same thing, operating below the 21, usually not the best thing. Same thing on CME as well. Actually, we did get that Friday closure below, technically speaking. Usually your first test into it's going to be a bounce. I believe that's what we got right here. Second close below is typically going to be, typically going to be a little bit more of an alarming time. But we do see momentum oscillators on our higher term timeframes still angled southwards. And I want to point this one out as well. Remember this trend line coming in all the way back from September lows. We're talking about September of 2020 when Bitcoin was getting reaccumulated at the $10,000 region. Sorry, and we can even extend this significantly further back to March 2020. That was, 1 year ago. That was your initial coronavirus dump times. And all these tests on this trend line have been humongous opportunities within Bitcoin's history. At least for like the last year, going all the way back here at about 5,000 bucks closing price. I'm talking about this one over here at the reaccumulation at 10,000 bucks. Then once again on this one here, if we connect the dots in January, which was this reaccumulation coming out of this region, at about 30,000 bucks. And then once again, it is technically not testing it right now, but it will test it probably within the next day or two. If you can kind of just maybe a little bit longer than that, to be fair. Actually, let me get rid of this one. I'm referencing this trend line right here, by the way. Okay, maybe more like 2 to 3 days, as it is kind of far away right now, but you can see it kind of happening in motion. So with all of that in mind, I would say that these higher term timeframe plays that I'm talking about, again, very unlikely to be actionable right now, but I'd be looking to have some sort of a confluential play between what we looked at on the monthly, what we looked at on the short term timeframes, and what we're looking at right now on the daily, somewhere around this region right here. If all those three things happen at the same time, you get the trifecta. Extremely likely for a good bounce. I'm talking about like a $10,000 bounce, probably back up to 50,000 bucks. Personally speaking, do I think that would have a high chance to be a reversal? Yes. Would that be fully confirmed just by getting down there? No, but you have to take one thing before the next, and it would essentially be creating a good long long-term case, at least for the month of March, leading into whatever the month after March is. I think it's April. So with all of that said, that's kind of the setup that I'm looking at for this week, but not necessarily actionable like this moment, as you can guess. 2-day, also very interesting here on CME, as well as, guess what? Where's the 21x benchmark average after putting in some bearish divergence in the high? About $40,000. Again, there is a premium over spot price action of about $400 to $500. So that would put spot somewhere around about $40,000 as well. And that typically is going to be my target based off a divergence signal like that. Same thing on buy daily Stokes right here, coming back down below the critical zone. Usually going to be a little bit of short-term downside at the very least. And 3-day, same shit as well. Going to have a chance to actually officially close and confirm momentum to the downside. Same sort of bearish divergence on the 3-day RSI right here too. And I would be looking for, well, usually move down to the next region. So with all of that in mind, probably, a little bit of, again, probably does play into what we just looked at on the monthly, but I want to be very deliberately clear. I would be looking at that as an opportunity. I'm not bearish on the long term on Bitcoin. I'm actually quite bullish. And you can reference my long-term analysis for reasons why, because it's about a 20 to 30 minute long video for, the case for potentially the next major high and, how long that can take and all that good stuff. That's in the long-term analysis playlist for you to view whenever you so desire. I'll actually be uploading another video to that this week, and that's going to be going over actually I have a few more things to add to it. It's going to be really fucking good though. I'm really, really excited about it. Put a lot of work into those. Anyways, okay, cool. All right, so we got all of that. We got through all those time frames. Let's go check out some caretaker ranges right here. We do see he's having a little bit of a bear zone consolidation on the 4-hour, and I would actually agree with his ranges kind of over mine right now, because we do see a bit of a conundrum right here. He's looking at about $49,000 to the upside. That'll still be lower highs on the 4-hour, and of course we do have the 42,500 pivot to the downside. I'm curious if this is in agreement with the hourly right here too, and yeah, pretty much. So at the end of the day, I'm still a little bit more angled towards the downside in the short term, I suppose. After this bullish divergence plays out, and then I think that very likely leads into the monthly play, and that's going to be probably the play of this month. If assuming it all comes to fruition, of course. This is also not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm a financial derper, and you should not be listening to people over the fucking internet about financial type stuff, because that's the worst place to do it. Anyways, hopefully, in a more serious tone, this analysis just kind of plays into, or more importantly, helps round out your own personal analysis, and it's in some way valuable. Anyways, what else do we want to check out while we're here? We want to check out Elsa's loud as fuck typing. How about that? Jesus Christ. Okay, that's great. That's really fucking nice. Anyways, let's go check out traditional markets really quick. I'm curious what they're doing to start off this month. And what do you know? Big old bounce on NASDAQ futures. Oh, isn't that crazy? Same thing as Bitcoin, isn't it? This one now did make a lower low here, to be fair. So I am... I am a little bit more on I would be a little bit more on the defensive on this one, but let's see what the monthly closed like. Yeah, the monthly close, well, just wait until this turns into like a rising wick formation right here. It just makes new all-time highs this month. It's kind of hard to be bearish on traditional markets and then be bullish on Bitcoin, right? So what I'd say here is that, while yes, technically we did have a shooting star dildo last month to close, not Friday, but technically Friday, but also February. I wouldn't look at this as actionable as a reversal until we take out not February low, but January low, which is 12,500. That would initiate targets back down to about $12,000. For right now, I do happen to think that this could just turn into one major fake out. Short term, I'd probably be looking for a move back up to like 13,200 and probably rejection there. We do have a 4-hour death cross coming in here. So it's not just coming in, it is actually confirmed. So I would be looking for a rally somewhere around this region. Yeah, and that's about 13.2 and probably rejection there in the short term. Does that play into Bitcoin's short term analysis as well? Yes. Short term plays out the bullish divergences. How high does that get up to? Maybe 48.5, maybe $49,000. I don't have strong opinions on this. My strong opinion is on the short term downturn resuming and then leading up into the monthly long term play. That's essentially what I'm looking at right now. And we see the same thing on SPY futures, I would imagine, as well. Not as big of a bounce, it looks like, but this one also didn't get destroyed as much on Friday, as well, as we do see this one still holding its higher low structure here in comparison to our lows in January 29th. So this one actually is a lot more compelling to me. Any sort of a move past Friday's high, and I'd actually be looking for this one to pop back up almost to about 3,900. We do see momentum oscillators are still headed south here. We don't see any trend lines, to be fair, but But for right now, it does look like it's been sufficiently beat up. And looking at the monthly too, what do we see? I mean, this one doesn't have the same sort of shooting star dildo that we did see on Nasdaq. And when we go across the board for the major indices, we would really expect to see most things kind of agreeing with each other. And well, we do. It's just not Nasdaq. It's just not Nasdaq. Let me bring up Dow Jones. Of which, closed with more of a body as well. This one would look more like continuation in comparison. So I do look at, I do keep tabs on all these, except, I typically don't show them all on video because it's just take too fucking long. But usually, usually NASDAQ matters the most. But in this case, I think it's a little bit more of an outlier here. Of course, the conditions for reversal are still very much the same as last week. And if they get met, yes, I would get bearish on it. Yes, absolutely. Targets would be $12,000 and perhaps even lower than that. But, considering everything else, and also the way that Bitcoin closed here too, everything in the world more or less moves together. A rising tide does lift all ships, at least in my experience, and especially when talking about major indices. Well, this is more or less you can find that for yourself to be demonstratively true if you just go back and put a chart on a weekly and compare them all together, which I won't do right now because we've done this a million times in the past and beating the old dead horse once again. Anyways, okay, cool. So what else do we have here? Do we want to check out Ethereum really quick, or do we want to get into some chit chat questions? Yeah, let's check out Ethereum really quick. Let's see. Where is you little piece of garbage, you? And this one actually does have one massive wick to the upside. But I would say the same thing as I would as Nasdaq. This is not confirmed as a reversal until we take out the low of last month. That would be 1244. Let's look at what the daily says right here. Daily is kind of in trouble. Daily is downside opposed. Daily is getting a pretty nasty moving average cross as well. But in the short term, could we have a short term rally into that region? Yes, and we do have a death cross on the 4 hour, which I actually do look at as rather, this would be the lowest time frame that I look at as actionable for any sort of a death cross type of behavior. Let's see what the history of this has been like on Ethereum. First, noticing actually that it is playing out the same sort of bullish divergence coming off the lowest 1, 2, 3 drives. So I wouldn't be surprised to see this one travel up a little bit higher, but I would be looking for a lower high, anywhere around 1520 to 1550 ish region. Of course, that also means on the other side, if it does take out the 200x benchmark average to the upside, which is right around 1580 and will be traveling down over time now, then I would switch around to bullish on it and look for a move back up to about 1800-ish region. But I think that's what's happening right now? Probably not. No. What was I just about to do? Yeah, so that's what I was about to do. Is I wanted to look at the history of the death cross and golden cross on this one. God damn it! I forgot. I hid my indicator arguments there. Well, whatever. All right. Well, we can just look at it. It's the purple and the green indicator. Motherfucker, man, this is going to be impossible. Actually, you know what? We have to do this the old-fashioned way. All right. Where's my indicator titles? And yeah, there we go. Okay, that's what I need to see. And we can just switch off everything except for the two ones that matter for what we're about to talk about. And that is these guys, the green and the purple, of which you can see a pretty damn good history of them. Anytime we've gotten the golden cross, well, you can see this one right here. That tells you to long at about 370 and would have told you to get out of your position as of yesterday at 1600. Not bad, I'd say. The time before that, this one, not as good, but does tell you to kind of protect your capital here on this move from about 390 to a low of about 320. So even in a counter trend market, not all that bad, although certainly not as glorious as the golden opportunity there. Same thing on this one over here, telling you to long about 227, and then of course get out a little bit higher. And then the time before that was actually right around here as well, before coming back into fruition. Same thing over here, same thing over here. So far, pretty damn good results. Except when we are talking about counter trend signals, you get something like this, which technically do play out. I mean, this is a nice move right here. This is a 190 to 230 move. I mean, that's pretty fucking nice, but it's not what you're looking for as compared to like this or the more recent one, which was a phenomenal move. So that's kind of what we're looking at right now here. Like, this is obviously a very counter trend move, so I wouldn't necessarily be looking for it to play out a whole hell of a lot, but it is once again a little bit pressure down, and I'd be looking for the golden cross on the other side to really give the next great signal for an upside move, as that's going to be on the same side of the trend. And assuming that happens, sometime in the middle of March, that would be, or maybe even earlier than that, that would be pretty damn good to play into, again, the long-term analysis for what we look at on Bitcoin. And again, these things more or less do move together. So I'm not, I do happen to think that probably all happens at around the same time anyways. All right, cool. Let's get into some questions over here. Stylist here says, thoughts on AV USD daily chart? Okay, used to be Lend. All right. Yeah, I've been seeing this one come up a lot. AV USD. Okay, I'm guessing Binance, which one to look at. And you said daily chart specifically. Man, you got everything right there. Fuck yeah. All right. Got the time frame, got the base pairing. Didn't get the exchange, but that's okay. I don't really care too much about exchange. Can probably figure that one out myself. What are we looking like on this one? Again, this one does look stronger in comparison to most other things that we see in this market. I mean, this does deserve respect, seeing as it has been rallying ever since what, September 2019. Not bad at all. A lot of things were not doing the same thing during that time. So this one does have a bit of a mind of its own and does deserve a bit of respect. Now, I would say that this one does have a bit of a base on the weekly at about 310. Do I look for this one to make new highs this week though? Probably not. No. This one does look like it's under a little bit of pressure on the weekly here. Daily's rallying up, of course, playing out some hidden bullish divergence right here. You can see from this low to this low. So I would be looking for that one to play out a little bit more short-term upside. Let's see if we can go down to a lower term time frame and kind of get a target for that region. Oh, actually, this is very fucking interesting here. Oh, wow. Okay. I would be having a short-term target probably back up to about 406 or 407, wherever the 200 simple is. But the thing that I really want to zero in on right now is the fact that we technically did get a death cross, but it's very likely to turn into a fake out here, as you can see. Now, technically it's not done that just yet, but usually once you close back above the 200 exponential average, it will kind of unfuck itself. That's essentially what I'm looking for on Ethereum here too. There's going to be like a last minute rally to kind of salvage it. But do we play out another downside move before that? You know, perhaps yes. Anyways, my point is that I would actually be looking for this to play out a little bit higher with the next major area right around 406, 407 region, and any sort of a 4-hour closure above the 200 simple. I would extend this move all the way up to like what is this region? 460 to 480-ish region. We can just mark this area off right here. I guess I don't have any drawing tools here because I've never really charted this one, but I'll be looking at a move anywhere around here, actually, in this pocket between about 460 and 476. So that would look pretty damn good. Set it up for the long term. I'm curious what the monthly looks like here as well. Kind of similar to Ethereum, actually, with that long wick of last month. But, you know, while technically speaking, this would be a shooting star dildo, it's not actionable as a reversal point until you take out the low of it. And that's, again, what is that? 268, 269 region. And then, yes, you can have targets down to about 150, which is a phenomenal move. But as of right now, the lower term time frame not necessarily suggesting that, again, hidden bullish divergence on the daily, like big time. And 4-hour actually unfucking itself with the death cross, which is typically a counter signal. Let me kind of explain why that's a big deal. A lot of the time what you see in these counter trend signals with golden crosses and death crosses, in this case we have an overall uptrend for, you know, the last year, actually 2 years. Yeah, the last 2 years. Basically, and then you get a death cross on top, around the top in this region. Usually those are actually fake outs, because what's happening right there? Well, what's happening is a lot of the more sophisticated bots and algos are actually baiting in the less sophisticated bots and algos into taking shit positions, because they know that they're going to be programmed off of something relatively simple like this. So they'll bait a death cross in this situation, again, against the macro trend or against the greater trend, and then everyone gets out of their positions, they reaccumulate, probably down around here, and then march it back onwards and upwards. See this all the fucking time, especially in nascent markets like we're looking at right here, and that's kind of what I'm thinking for Ethereum as well, in the sense that, yes, we do have a death cross right now, and yes, there is a threat of a downside move still, but based off of the higher term timeframes, especially with what we looked at on Bitcoin, I'm looking at any sort of a downside move as a major opportunity. Style Icterius says, could you talk a bit about how you are choosing your ranges when drawing your lines for support and resistance and ranges? Well, first it depends. Well, it's a function between time frame, it's a function between highs and lows, and it's a function between pivot points based off of momentum oscillators. Sometimes it's a little more complicated than that, but to get any more detailed than that is going to be like a fucking 20 to 30 minute long conversation. I don't think that's appropriate for a video like this. That's what I have my programs for, obviously, and I mean, it should be relatively self-explanatory, but for the most part, I'm going off of liquid zones and in order blocks, and then representing them as horizontals for the most part, because it's just your charts get too fucking convoluted if you do anything other than that. And I think I messed a few other chats up here. Hold on, Jesus Christ, man, this is moving fast today, man. God damn. All right, so we got that one. And Justin Myers says, Cardano USD, please, and genuine thank you as well. Thanks, man. Appreciated that. Let's see, Cardano right here, USD on, I guess, Binance, the right exchange to be going to. And did you say a time frame? No, you did not, but I'll just go to the daily default there. Do we have bearish divergence off the top? Yeah, technically we do. 1, 2, 3 drives in motion, but the third drive is not actionable until we take out the low side of yesterday's dildo at 115. If that does happen, I would look for a medium-term time frame target back down to $1 territory, but I would be looking for a bounce off of $1 as well. Looking at the 4 hour right here, yes, it does look like it look like it has a little bit of short-term downside. However, again, I'd look at $1 as an opportunity. So it's kind of the same thing as Bitcoin. It's like, do I think there's a threat of a downside move here? Oh, and also a buck would be about a backfill in last week open. So all of that is is kind of insinuating continuation. Volume on the weekly is looking pretty damn good here too for continuation. So I would be looking at short-term, medium-term downside as an opportunity here is kind of the main point that I'd be having. If this one must come back down to 110 or even $1 even, I like both those areas. In fact, looking at the daily right here, I'm not even sure that that's gonna happen because again, this third drive of potential bearish divergence is not confirmed, will only be confirmed below yesterday's low. And as you can see, momentum oscillators actually pointed and aggressively northwards right now in the bullish control zone. I'd have to say that this one I'm not bearish on. Monthly is not in any way, shape, or form bearish at all. This one can come all the way back down to like 71.5 cents and be phenomenally fucking bullish. It can even come below there too, and it'd still be pretty damn good long term. But my point is that this one very likely to make new all-time highs. I mean, we see this one closing on an all-time high on increasing volume. It's usually going to lead towards new highs after that. So I do look for overall continuation on this one. Again, playing into the Bitcoin narrative as well. If it does have a short-term downside move, that is very, 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 very likely to be an opportunity long-term, at least for the month of March, probably leading into April as well. Let's see. Andres Rival says, hello, Zer Krown. Hello, Zer Andres. Looking for monthly Dixie is bouncing on support pivot. Could it be a bearish warning sign for Bitcoin? Well, first, let's check it out. I did see it earlier. It was actually trading up a bit to open up March. Where the fuck is my Dixie? Where's my damn Dixies? Dude, where's my Dixie? There it is. Found it. All right, 90.80. Yeah, short term, it is looking like a reversal here. I believe we did call this at the end of last week. I've been looking for this one to take a stab up this week towards about 91.5 region, test around the 21 exponential average right here. But I wouldn't necessarily call this a breakout just yet. Here's the thing, though. This one actually is nearing the 3-month mark as far as this zone has gone between about 91, or I guess it's on my other chart, but whatever. We can just chart it out really, really fast here. I'm talking about the zone between 91 and about 89 and 3/4 to the downside. It's actually almost been 3 months now. We've been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we're working on week number 11 now. And typically speaking, this takes about 3 months on our macro reversals. So if we are going to see a reversal on this one, it probably happens this month. So I'd actually be considering that Dixie is probably going to have a major move this month. Could it be that it comes, could it be that both the upside and the downside? It's like, can it go up or down? Yes, of course. But would I be looking for more of an upside move here? Yes, actually I would. The reason being because, well, first off, we're operating off of higher lows. And, typically you're going to bounce from that region, whether you're bullish or bearish. It's probably just going to put in a lower high to be fair. But all of the macro lows and not necessarily the macro highs, but the macro lows in the past have typically taken about 3 months on a 3-month schedule. You can see this one right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 weeks. Pretty damn close. See this one over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 13, 14 in reversal on the 14th. This one over here, macro low in 08, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, geez. Okay, you already know. You already get it. It's actually a little bit longer than 3 months. It looks like it's about 3 months and a week or 2 weeks. Same thing on this one over here. I actually do want to count this one out just to see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yep. And then this one over here in actually 1990. Same thing as well. So, we are getting very, very close to that. Like I said, we're working on week number 11 or 12 now, and that means that it probably happens this month. And if it does happen to the upside, again, I'm not necessarily calling like a full-on macro reversal here, but it's some upside pressure back up to about 92.5 would certainly be in order, and that will put downside pressure on other major assets, yes, but it doesn't mean that they're just blindly going to go down. We have seen in the past where Dixie and Bitcoin, for example, which I'm guessing you're probably more interested in, rally at the same time. I mean, we can just overlay a Bitcoin chart here and show you in real time, because why the fuck not? And let's just pull up the BLX index, plot it on the backside right there, and you get them on. God damn it, this thing again, motherfucker. All right, I forgot that this is going to try to do it in percent, and what we really want is, Jesus, yeah, this is going to be a fucking monstrosity. Dixie's going to be a line chart, obviously. Let's see, because what's going on here is that it's trying to plot Bitcoin on a different fucking scale. Oh man, I used to know how to do this, but now I've forgotten, and it's really embarrassing. So I don't know, did we put it on log? Well, it's not gonna matter if it's on log scale or not. Auto, we can fit down to the screen. No, but I want to see the BLX index right here. Oh well, whatever. My point is, if you actually can get this on the same fucking chart, which for whatever reason I cannot, you'd be able to see that throughout the time of what was it? February 2018. Sorry, it was 2014 to 2016 was a rally. Sorry, not 2014 to 2015. 2015 to 2017 was a rally, and you can see the same thing on Dixie. That was when Bitcoin went from below $1,000 to $20,000. So there have been times in the past, just gonna be more difficult, obviously. Same thing for traditional markets as well. It's not like a blind thing that says you have to come down. No, your more weak assets will come down because it's gonna be more difficult as the dollar does strengthen. But the strong typically do remain strong. So that's why it's really important to pay attention to who is acting strong in a market like this, like relatively speaking, because they're likely to be one of the some of the winners in this next phase if this one does perform the reversal. And to be fair, I think that it very likely does, probably later this month, maybe early next month, something like that. Okay, cool. All right, Bitcoin bro. Nice comment, bro. Fair enough. Okay, what else can we see here? Sorry, bring these up right here. Okay, wow, I missed a lot of these, Jesus. No more paper says Matic USD daily. Sure, man. Okay, let's see. I haven't heard Matic called out in like a year as well. Is this one making a comeback now? Matic USD on, I guess Binance is the right one to be going to. Straight fucking moonshot here. Jesus Christ. Again, strong getting stronger, and this one no different. Does it play out a short-term downside move here? Probably yes. I mean, we do see several drives of bearish divergence probably coming off this high, but it is a constructive move. I'd be looking for any sort of a move back down to about 20 cents as another opportunity. This one is looking medium and long-term good still. Daily's closing on new highs. Daily's fine. Weekly, same thing. I'd look at any downside move towards 20 cents as a nice little opportunity, and probably does make new highs. Maybe this week or next week. This one's looking more or less good, but you did not provide a time frame, so I will just. Oh no, you did provide a time frame. You did say a daily. Yeah, daily's more or less fine right here. Momentum oscillator is still pointed nice and northwards. Yes, it is getting more and more aggressive, but I do think that it likely has another move here. Hidden bullish evidence. I'd say that that's certainly already played out. It's made not just new all-time highs, but it's made significantly new all-time highs. So I would be looking for this one to kind of short-term play it a little bit sideways and down, and then try to march on for another high. New 510 says, Krown bro, in your experience, how to not be greedy? I'm feeling FOMO about taking profits I've taken. Okay, so you're feeling FOMO about so you've taken profits on a position that was working for you, and then you still feel FOMO that the position is going to still work for you, and that makes you feel uncomfortable emotionally speaking. Well, that just shows, and sorry, don't take this offensively here, but because I deal with the same thing, and I've dealt with the same thing, and I still deal with the same thing. That shows that sort of mentality comes from your brain not thinking that you can repeat these behaviors and that you just got lucky. If you understand trading in the way that trading truly is, at least in my experience, you understand that trading is a game of statistics and probabilities, and you cannot be perfect with that. And so, with that in mind, with that assumption in mind that you cannot be perfect, it will always be imperfect, then you just have to kind of go off your plan, obviously. And so where am I going with this one? I need to get back on that thread. Okay, yes, that's where I was going with this one. So your sort of mentality is telling you, or what you're telling yourself is that you just got lucky with that. What you have to understand is that trading is a game of statistics and probabilities. So that is all that it is. You don't need to fucking get lucky. There is no getting lucky when you have like a 60% hit rate with whatever strategy that you're working with. Now, I would assume that if you're feeling this, you probably haven't gone through and documented your results with whatever trading strategy you have. Maybe you don't have one. Maybe you are just guessing. Maybe you did just get lucky. That could be that could be a possibility as well. I don't know you well enough to know whether that's true or not. I don't know if you have like a trading journal. I don't know if you have like a trading checklist. I don't know if you have any of that in line. But if you do, assuming that you do, all you have to do to let go of those emotions and trust in the process is simply document those results over time. You'll naturally find some sort of statistical narrative that tells you that you have, X amount of edge when you play this strategy, and that means that you have, X percentage to win. And if you know that you have, again, I'm just using a random number here, 60% hit rate with your strategy, would you get FOMO from getting out of position? You just know that there's going to be another one to come into anyways. And you should know that, because if you have been successful with whatever strategy that you're using, it's just a matter of repetition. It's just a matter of perseverance with that over time. Yes, there will be losses, obviously, because 40% of them with that specific example, are going to go into the loss category. It's going to happen, but your FOMO is coming from you telling yourself that you likely just got lucky. So that leads me to believe that you might not have a very well-defined strategy in your own line, and you haven't gone back and back tested it, or you haven't tested it at all. and so that's why you don't trust in it, and that's why you feel this fear that you might miss out on the big moonshot because this one was just a bit of luck. Fair enough. Again, I don't want this to sound like me talking down to you. I've dealt with the same thing myself, and sometimes I still deal with it, but that is my defense against it, is going back and referencing those concepts, because that's what you can trust in, like actual hard facts and data, not just getting lucky and licking your finger and fucking putting it up to the wind, and it's like, this is what I'm going to be trading today. It's like, no, you need like an actual strategy. And again, this goes against a lot of things that are going to happen. This goes against just a lot of things in general. The reason being because you don't want to think like that. You want to think like this is this is the way that it is, if that makes sense, which I don't think it does, because I don't think I did the best job of explaining that. I'll need to gather my thoughts on that one again. I do have a psychological playlist on this channel that is available to you at any time, and I do have videos on that, and I think I do a better job of explaining it there, to be honest with you. But maybe if I talk in circles a little bit more, it'll come back to me, and we can hammer in that point a little bit. But the main things are strategy, understand the statistics with that, and then it's just repetition over time. Jake says, could you please chart INJ, my man? Sure. Is this a stock or is this a crypto? Because INJ is going to bring up a bunch of these over here, but I'm guessing you're talking about cryptos, because I see Binance everywhere in front of my goddamn face. You also didn't give a base pair, so I'm just going to go with the US dollar for now. This one, looking for a short-term bounce, probably back up to about 14 bucks. 4 hour right here. I imagine we have the same bullish divergence. Oh man, do we have the same chart everywhere across crypto land? I'd say that the bullish divergence, the easy portion of that, certainly played out. Does it want to have another leg towards 14 bucks? Probably, yeah. And I'd be looking for a little bit of a stop and reverse point there. If you start to see daily Stokes turn back up alongside that $14 area be met, that's where I'd start to look at this one as likely to retest the prior all-time high. But for now, only short term, as you didn't really specify a time frame, and I don't really know where else to go with that one. Okay, all right. What else do we have? Squiggly Wiggins just has a nice unicorn emoticon. Nice one, man. Sweet. Chill Mega Chill says, love you, please, NIO on New York Stock Exchange. Fuck yeah, man. All right, we got some real stocks here. Let's check out Neo on New York Stock Exchange. And I think what is this, like a beverage company or something? Do I have that right, or am I thinking about something else? Maybe I'm thinking about something else. Looks pretty damn toppy to me. Yeah, it looks pretty damn toppy to me on the weekly. Now, does it open up this week on a bounce? Probably yes. Where would a bounce target be? Probably about 50.5 to 51 bucks. But after that, I would be looking for this one to play out a little bit of downside. So short term, medium term, probably does pop back up. I don't know. Could this wedge itself into an ascending triangle? Possible, yes. But I'd be a little more. I'd be a little more defensive against this one on like the on the higher term time frames. Short term though, very likely does bounce back up to about what did we say? 54, 55. 54 to 55 bucks, I think, is rather likely here, actually. What does the weekly say? Yeah, about, well, actually a little bit lower than that, but I'd still say about anywhere between 54 and 55. And then I want to come back to it after that. But I actually do think that this one is toppy on the long term here. Short term does have a little bit of upside. So again, in the future, like if you could just actually specify a time frame, that would be significantly helpful. Please confirm Barack Obama buy all Bitcoin. Moon when? That's right. Barack Obama is holding the Bitcoins. He's holding them right in his bunghole, isn't he? Voltage says LYXE. What the fuck is this thing? Oh boy. Oh boy. All right, get them ready. Oh man, we got KuCoin and Uniswap. You know it's gonna be a good day when you start off with that bullshit. Jesus Christ. My God, man, my God. But actually pretty good. Actually pretty fucking good. Quite surprised here. Very fucking good, actually. Weekly is bullish AF. Daily, well, nothing really bearish about closing on new highs. Does it play a little more bearish divergence here? Perhaps, yes. You know, if it wants to have another stab down to like 610, I'd look at that as a major opportunity as well. You didn't really provide a time frame here, but short term is very obviously upside angled. Hidden bullish divergence, I do believe it's still playing out. Probably does have a move back up around the prior high first, $10. To be honest, I don't even think I'd be looking at downside on this one. This one actually is pretty damn bullish here, at least for the short and medium term time frames. Yeah, there is nothing bearish about this. This is actually pretty damn impressive for a shitcoin. This would not be a shitcoin. I mean, this is actually looking pretty good. Fair enough. Yeah, weekly's bullish. Daily, more or less fine. Short term time frames are bullish as well. Okay, cool. All right, let me just pop back in over here and see what else we got. Okay, so new says Krown bro, god tier advice. Thank you. I'm glad that helped, man, because I was afraid that what I was saying was not connecting. So perhaps we can come back to that a little bit later too. Swiggly Williams says he's trying to say that you cannot please your wife with that small of a Johnson. Hold and grow a pair. It's actually not what I'm saying, but if that's the interpretation of what I'm saying, then you know what? I think I have a lot of work to do with my fucking tongue. Let's see. Thank you for that, Mr. Jeremy Shulman. But I figured you could, you know, if you have a message, man, I'm happy to chat it out too. It's all good, man. It's all good. Hey, what's up, Joe? Joe says, should add YM1 to your watch list, brother. Dow Jones futures. All right, let's check it out. Let's check it out. I mean, well, I'm happy to watch it. Obviously, the problem is that at some point you just start looking at like a million different things, and it just takes forever. And they're mostly trading with each other. Dow Jones futures a little bit more bearish. Here, but again, you know, it is still uptrending, obviously. So I'd look at any sort of move towards like 3,200-ish region as a major opportunity. You know, kind of in line with everything else. Weekly, does it follow everything else? Probably too. Well, we do have some bearish divergence on the top here. Yeah, I probably would be looking for some downside. 30,200-ish region, and then probably bounce there. Would I be bearish on this one in the long term? No, not really. Yeah, and even that's just kind of coming back down and back testing this region. So I look at that as all good, essentially. Hey, what's up, Michael H? Just want to say my thanks for everything I've learned from you on my trading journal. Thanks, brother. Hey, man, my pleasure, and more power to you, man. That's fucking awesome. That's super awesome, man. That's super awesome. And again, I actually recognize your name for, I don't know, man. You must have been here for like maybe 2.5 years now. It's actually pretty crazy because I actually remember just about everyone who's been here for a long time who I've had like a longitudinal conversational like thread with. And this is coming up on the 3-year anniversary, I think in like a couple weeks here in March. It's fucking insane, man. It's fucking insane. So massive shout out to everyone who's kind of stuck around. That's humbling and cool as fuck. It's like you don't even know what to say because I don't like it. It takes time to internalize something like that. What's up, Nimbo? There's our lovely moderator. Let's see, Jesus bro Bitcoin. Sir, Bitcoin, we spent like the first 20 to 30 minutes on Bitcoin, sir. What's wrong? Is there something wrong, sir? Do we have any hidden bearish divergence here? Actually, we do. Between this point and this point, in progress right now. However, the problem is we don't have a local high just yet. Can we go down to a 2-hour and see if this is going to be confirmed relatively soon? Actually, potentially, yes. Yeah, I'd say any sort of a 2-hour closure below $46,000, that likely does bleed into the 4-hour, and we do see another drive lower short term. So that actually help out the more short term time frame look, as it would provide that next sort of bearish twist on it. Do I get my prices after that point? I don't know. Maybe it's a little bit of hopeful wishing and waiting, but I do like it. Squiggly Williams says, I've learned everything I know about crypto from, okay, whoa. I fear to read that comment because, look, man, I don't know when people are trolling or not. With full respect, it's Bitcoin History Month, guys. Everyone spread the word of Bitcoin History Month. It's fucking moon time, baby. Don't you know? George, no, not George. George Washington was white. But Michael Jordan, yeah. Big Bitcoin fan. There you go. Anyways, let's see. What else do we have? Okay, want to make sure that I answered all these over here before we get to that. Baraka Flock of Flames. Good shit, man. Good shit. Ethereum, yeah, we already kind of looked at Ethereum, man. It's doing more or less the same thing as Bitcoin, as usual. Let's see. It looks to me like it's putting a lower high right here. Death cross on the 4 hour. I mean, does it come back down and make another drive lower? That's what I'm hoping it does to kind of play out Bitcoin's short-term downside move as well. But I'd postulate anywhere around like 1300 is kind of going to be a bit of a basin of price action. Let's see what the daily looks like. Where would that 1300 level be? Yeah, right around here. Yeah, I'd be looking at that as another opportunity, actually. Ethereum, Bitcoin, yeah, we can look at that. We can look at that. Ethereum is going to 0. Code is law. Hard fork, lol. Let's see. Where is my... that is actually pretty funny. You know, you must have been in this space for a long time because very few people actually remember that. Very few people actually remember that. Hey, have you heard of fucking Ethereum Classic? Where did that one come from, right? Code is law. Anyways, yeah, looking at Ethereum, Bitcoin here, looking short-term downside. Looking weekly downside. We did get the closure below the 200 exponential average. I'd look at any move to the upside. I'd look at any move to the upside, especially towards like 3.3 million Satoshis as a major opportunity to dump the shit out of this thing. I shouldn't say it like that. Very likely dump the shit out of this thing. Yeah, there you go. This is not French advice. I'm not a French advisor. There you go. If this one does rally back to like 3.3 though, I'd look at that as an opportunity to get the fuck out. This one very likely coming back down. Weekly abysmal close. I'd be looking for this one to probably work its way back down to like 2.25 million Satoshis over the next couple months here. Monthly. Not the most healthy close either. We do see momentum oscillators pointed southwards once again. Monthly RSI not really conclusive, kind of neutralish more than anything. Daily, probably going to get a bounce here relatively soon, but I'd look for that bounce to get sold into most likely. Okay, what else did I miss? Jesus Christ, man. I see. Are you from Hungary? I actually lived in Hungary for a bit of time. I lived in Budapest for a while. It's pretty cool. In my mid-20s, it's fun times. Quinsman says, could you please look at Monero? Yeah, I'd love to look at Monero. Monero is such an interesting one to me because this one was thought of as like one of the more legit ones for as long as I've been in this space, and you don't really hear too much about it nowadays, which is very strange. I think that it's trying to put in a low right here. Probably does rally back up towards like what is this, 575,000 Satoshis. Obviously long term very much downtrending, but I do think that short term, medium term, this one does have a bit of a relief rally. Kind of an abysmal chart here, to be fair. I mean, this is a bit of a pump and dump over a long period of time, even though Monero does seem to be one of the more legitimate ones trying to operate with the privacy sector. But short-term very likely bounce. This thing gets back up to like what did I say, like 55? Yeah, anywhere around about 55 or 50, or sorry, that's 570,000 Satoshis region. Anywhere around there, I probably would be looking for potentially another lower high. So to kind of wrap it up, short-term, medium-term, yeah, it probably does rally. Long-term, does it continue the downtrend? I mean, there's no real reason to say that it doesn't when it's been downtrending for the last 2-3 years now. Gus says, hey, what's up, Gus? Please take my Monopoly money. That's it. Hungarian, what is it, Fortnite? Yeah, man, it is Monopoly money. Holy shit, I remember that. Oh my God. Okay, so when I was living in Budapest, man, we'd go to the fucking ATM. And like you just want like $20 back, and they'd be like, okay, your $20 is worth 6,000 Hungarian forint. I'm like, oh my God, I'm rich. This is amazing. This is the best. Because in my early 20s, I was not like, I was just average, or probably below average, if anything. And so it was cool to go to Budapest and actually feel like I had something for a bit. It's kind of cool. Hey man, appreciate that though, and massive love too, because I think Budapest and Hungary are a special place, or at least they have a special place in my heart. Job Allison has retracted his or her message, so fair enough. I can't say anything then, but feel free to repost it, I suppose. Let's see. Oh, this is definitely a legitimate comment. Alex James says, make more profit on crypto with expert Oliver. Okay, and banned. Hey, I can't ban him. All right, well, one of our mods, we'll get to him soon enough. Andres Rival says, understand why you took the decision to take profit. Understand why you took the decision to take profit. Ideally stats, yes, statistically based. Remind yourself every time you feel that you missed out brings you peace. Exactly. There's always the next trade too. That's the next thread of consciousness I wanted to get back onto. So to go back to loop back around to our earlier friend, that's something I directly wanted to address, in the sense that there's always a next trade, man. There's always a next trade. Look, if you put on that trade and you took profit, which would imply that you made money off of it, again, assuming that you actually had a legitimate strategy in place, it's just a process of repeating that. If you did it before, you can do it again. There is no ands, ifs, or buts around that. If you did it before, you can do it again. So there's no real need to feel FOMO. It's just a matter of finding the next opportunity, which will very likely take patience. But the only way that you're going to get in your own fucking way with waiting for that patience play is by, well, by giving into FOMO. So understand that FOMO never truly goes away, or at least in my experience, it doesn't really truly go away. Like, you always kind of deal with it. It's a part of being human. It's the same thing as it's just who we are in a lot of ways. Yes, over time, your emotions can catch up, and you will be a little more guarded against that. But it takes time. Your emotions move at a very slow pace in comparison to your thoughts and actions, which your thoughts and actions are what you can control right now. So you can feel something, like when you go to the gym, you might feel like you don't want to go to the gym, but you can still force yourself to go to the gym, right? That's the same thing with FOMO. You know that you should not do something, but you feel a different way. Well, all you have to do is just not do it. You can feel any fucking way that you want. That doesn't matter. That is going to be fleeting and floating, and you don't really have too much control of your emotions anyways. But if you can continue to repeat those behaviors over time, and when I say over time, I mean 30 plus iterations, which is naturally going to take time, then your emotions will slowly start to catch up to that, and you will become more guarded. But you need to be fucking massively disciplined at the beginning to actually get around that first. At least that was the case for myself, because, well, I was a pretty damn emotional person. I think I still am in a lot of ways. If you ever watch me play some goddamn video games, I can get very emotional very fucking fast. But in trading, I've kind of gone through the rigmarole so many times now that it's actually a lot less so. In fact, when I'm trading, I am more or less bored. And when I say bored, I think that people can misinterpret that as well. The reason why I'm bored is because, look, if you know that you have a 60% win rate, are you going to get too happy about, a win when you know that it's just a matter of time before you take a loss and it's just going to even out over time? No, you're not. It's already baked in. It's going to deviate maybe slightly here and there, but that's all that it is, man. That's all that it is. So again, you can perform actions when your emotions are going against you, and that's something that we've kind of like lost in today's day and age, especially in like Western society, is that we will prioritize our emotions over what we should be disciplined wise, and that's why discipline is so powerful, and that's why the people who really succeed in this world now, their main attribute, or at least the attribute that is consistent among most successful people, is their discipline. They don't give in to these silly emotions that most people do. That's what separates them and allows them to do very special things. Do you not think that Elon Musk was feeling, fucking anxiety when he's, trying to do whatever the fuck he's trying to do, because this guy's like changing not just the world, but maybe the universe? Of course he does, but he just ignores something like that and goes and does it anyways. You can do that too. Anyone can do that. You can practice it, like I said, with going to the gym, because that's just an easy example. Pretty much anyone can do it, except for during coronavirus times, but you know what I mean, right? We've all kind of felt that. We know we should do something, but we feel a different way, and then you have a quantum moment in your life. You have a quantum moment in your life where you decide either to go and do that thing because you know you should fucking do it. That's discipline. That's usually what's going to bring you good things, assuming that you're aligned with where you want to go to begin with. That's a whole nother conversation. Or you give into your emotions, and at that moment, it's like a quantum switch where you've set yourself on a path that is more in line with where you want to go, or more in line with the emotional side, which is gonna like leave you like a fucking leaf in the wind. You're just gonna be at the whim of what your immediate environment is kind of inundating you with. And and most people give into that. Most people do not make the right decision at that quantum moment. And that's why most people are, at the whim of their surrounding environment, whether it be social media, whether it be, I don't know, just regular media too, whether it be, your friends and families. You have to be aware that those sort of influences are quite literally influencing you, whether you identify it or not. And it's up to you to be disciplined to get away from that. And that applies 100% to trading. It applies to everything really, but you can use that in trading, and that will just make your experience of life better in every facet if you can apply it in every other way, which you can start with that. You can start with the gym. You can start with you can start with really anything. But those are two ways that I think are most relevant to people here. Okay, cool. All right, so now that we got through that, let's see. Squiggly Wiggins says, I don't troll. You've made me a lot of money. I didn't buy a Lambo though. I bought a Corvette and a Lotus. Oh, nice one, man. Those Lotuses are fucking hot, actually. I remember you seeing those as a kid, and I thought that those were like the coolest ones. Go reread my $50. It was comments on. Okay, it's all good, man. Hey, Squiggly wins. It's all good, man. It's all good, brother. But thank you for clearing that up, man. I was a little bit confused for a second. I was like, what the fuck? It's like, am I gonna get banned from YouTube again? Chad said, he says, sir, good day. Sir, good day to you too. Troll 1 week on CSE exchange. Okay, troll. What's CSE? Is that some sort of Canadian thing? Let's see. Yeah, it is Canadian. Troll. Cannabis. Okay, nice. Wheat stocks to the moon, baby. Lower term time frames bullish. I'd be looking for this one to pop back up towards 61 and a quarter. This is very, very obviously short term reaccumulation. And going to a daily, yeah, I'd say same thing. Probably even has hidden bullish divergence here. Actually does not. Do we? Let's see. Low right here, 53.73. Low right here, 53.93. No, technically does not, but I'd still be short-term, medium-term bullish on this one. Probably pops back up to like mid 60s. Probably continues the uptrend, to be honest, as well. I mean, if you see daily stocks pop back up here too, which by the way, they're about to hit this trend line, as you can see. I'd be looking for this one to retest the prior all-time high over the next week or two, and then make new all-time highs. This one's pretty damn good. Bless you, sir. Lotus is bad, stands for lots of trouble, usually serious. What? Really? I didn't know. Then what the fuck is a lotus flower? I thought that that's supposed to be some sort of like Buddhist peace thing. What the hell is that all about, man? What the fuck is that all about, Buddha? Whoops, missed that one right there. Hold on, let me scroll back up. Ollie Moosevali says silver and apple on weekly and monthly. Okay. All right, we can look at this shiny rock right here. Hello, shiny shitty rock. You said weekly and monthly. This one is going to be long-term bullish, but short-term, does it come down a little bit lower towards like 23.5 or 23.75? Maybe yes. But my main point here is that I'd probably look at that as an opportunity. I do think that that March is going to be mostly sideways, but long-term, this actually is okay. The monthly does look kind of nasty, to be fair, but weekly and daily, I do think maybe have a short-term downside, but that's going to turn into an opportunity. This looks like reaccumulation at the high thus far. So to me, I do respect that quite a fair bit. Oh, by the way, the worst way to contact me ever is to do a fucking private chat on stupid TradingView. I absolutely fucking hate. I never respond to these. It's just not the right way. And it's way too hard to follow up on as well. If I sound a little bit silly in that regard, it's mostly because I can't just follow up on that. So if you do want to contact, the best way is as always through email, as I can actually follow up on that long term. And then you also said Apple as well. Okay, AAPL. Let's see on NAS and weekly down. Monthly probably a little bit lower, but I'd be looking for bounces off like 110 to 115. I'm sure that is probably showing a little bit of bearish divergence here too. Actually, yes, but I wouldn't get too bearish on this one. I think just short term here. Short term on this one, probably move down to the 200 simple and 200 exponential average on the daily. Yeah, anywhere around 110 to 113-ish region, and I'd be looking for bounces there, at least on the first pass, and then we'll come back to it after that. Maybe very long term. This one could turn around, but there's no real reason to be bearish on this one as long as it's above about 108. Sorry, what is this? Yeah, 108. If this one does come below 108, I would look for a big move down towards like $90. But for now, I just think a little bit short term, probably just bounce off that 110-ish region. Okay, cool. All right. Let's move on down through here. What else do we got? Stock Tiers has retracted his message. Why would you do that, sir? Why would you do that, Style? La Major says, can you look at LKCO, Lukong Technology? Okay, that sounds like it's a Chinese firm, perhaps. I will say this: Chinese stocks, yeah, especially on American exchanges, are usually, yeah, they look like this. They look like shit coins. I'd be looking at this as a lower high, man. I'd be looking at this one as probably likely to come back down to $1. This looks like a shit coin stock, man. I'd probably be looking for this one to be sold into. This is very consistent with my experience on these sorts of names. Technically, yeah, has a golden cross on the daily. I don't care about that though. this one's very likely coming back down. I'd be looking for a move back down to like 105. Okay. Okay, nice. Oh, Style Exterior says, I know you're not an accountant, but U.S. tax laws hit you with 27% for short holds and 15% if you hold more than a year. Seems like it's better to hodl in a bull market. Any input? Yes, if you're going to be going with that. What you can also do, and again, I'm not a tax professional, you should definitely consider like hiring an international tax professional. They will really set you straight and really, well, if they're good, they'll save you a shit ton of money. But what you can do, or what you can look into, if you want to go down that route, is you could look into maybe like holding it in a company or something, or maybe even putting it offshore. Yes, there will become other issues with that as well, but you can definitely reduce your tax liability with that. So I've obviously I have my own controlled foreign corporation. But again, reference a tax professional, because there's a lot of fucking there's so many places where you can go wrong, and believe me, man, it scares the shit. Every time it scares the shit out of me when I talk with my accountant, because it's like, what the fuck are they going to tell me next? Because there's always new rules, there's always new regulations, but for the most part, they'll set you straight, and they will make sure that you're in the best you're in the best company. But if you're just going off of what you're saying right there, yeah, it's probably going to be better. I mean, if trading's not your main business, because I believe in the US, if you mark yourself as a professional trader, you will not have to deal with those short-term tax rates, but then you have to satisfy other criteria. That's what I had to do when I was a trader in traditional markets. But it might be difficult to satisfy those requirements. There are very specific things, and they're probably changed since I last did it. But again, if you contact a professional, they're going to set you straight. You probably don't want my opinion on that, because I just might be straight up wrong, as I actually haven't talked to my accountant in like a week, so that means everything's changed. Oh dear Lord. Squiggly Williams says Lotus is greater than Corvette. Ethereum is greater than Cardano. Probably true, but Jesse Lewis says, good morning, Krown. Good morning to you, sir. Just wanted to say I've been trading for 1 year now, and something finally clicked, and now I've been profitable for 2 months. Fuck yeah, man. And there you go. And that's typically what I see, man. It's like people who stick with it and really put the time and effort in, about a year. About a year is what it takes. That's when things start to click. That's when you start to see, oh, okay, I get what's going on here. This is, I have my strategy down. Then it's just a matter of essentially, just tying up a very, very small percentage, 1% changes here and there that run up your overall win percentage. That's all that it is. That's all that it is, man. And fucking congratulations, because that is it's just so fucking cool to see, because I've seen so many people go through this now. I've seriously seen so many people go through this route now, and it's almost always the same goddamn story, which really makes you think. It really turns you into like some sort of a weird philosopher, but it is interesting. It is very, very interesting. Like, why is it 1 year? Why 1 year? I don't know. For myself, it took about 1.5 years, by the way. I'm just a slower learner, I think. Dennis Tukerick says, favorite crypto channel since 2018. Thanks, man. I'll be taking your classes when I quit my full job ending this year. Oh, shit. Well, congratulations. That sounds pretty damn cool. Cardano is taking me to the moon. Keep winning, Krown. Hey, it sounds like you're having a damn good time, man. Cardano, one of the better winners, especially of these last few months. JR says, Krown, hey, thanks, man. BRPHF. Okay, BRPHF. I need to, BRP. Wait, did I do that right? Nope. BRPHF. There we go. All right. Galaxy Digital Holdings. Okay. OTC, trades OTC. And then you said specifically on daily and weekly. All right. Well, 4 hours downside angled here. Daily as well. I'd be looking for a short-term downside move to about 1190. But you also asked about the weekly too. This is bizarre, man. I usually steer clear of things like this. Yeah, usually steer clear of things like this. I mean, we do have bearish divergence come at the high right here. So if it does have a little bit of a short-term downside stint to like $8, that would be my opportunity region for the weekly. Daily's looking looking like a little bit of short-term downside here as well. But I'd be looking for a short-term bounce first off of $12. If that bounce fails, then yeah, I'd look towards that $8.50 or $9 region based off the weekly. Yeah, probably does rise up to about 8.5 to be fair. Yeah, actually, whoa, oh, Jesus Christ, yeah, maybe more than that because it's rising up really aggressively there. Yeah, probably about 8.5 to $9. So over time, long term though, I really don't like charts like this. The monthly's still good, I suppose. So you do kind of have to be bullish long term. But I want to be on the record as saying, hey man, while I do think that this one has a little bit of short term downside, I do think that this one has a little bit of short-term downside. Long-term, do I think it gets picked back on up? It would be suggesting so, yes, but I don't feel confident on charts like this, and I want to be very, very transparent when I say that because while this is, of course, not finished five, so I do understand that this can, maybe sometimes be taken in the wrong way as it is not intended, and in this case, yes, short-term a little bit of downside. Do I think long? If you put a gun to my head and said long-term, does it come back up here? Probably up to like $26, probably yes over the next few months, but I don't trust charts like this, man. I mean, we're literally looking at months where it does not trade. Like, this is my problem with it. Look at March of 2010. Didn't trade. Literally did not fucking trade once. I mean, this is going all the way on. And this is a monthly, by the way, for a whole fucking month. We're talking about a month right here. Look at this. A 1 month, it closes at basically 38 cents. The next month, it makes one trade, it looks like. Literally one fucking trade. The volume is like 623 shares, I believe. For the whole month, for the whole fucking month, man, for the whole fucking month. And this one, pops up to like $20. I just don't trust them like that, man. That is that is kind of ridiculous. So if you put a gun in my head and said Krown, call it, that's what I'd say. But I don't feel confident there. I really don't. Okay, cool. Let's move on. Let's see. Maybe this is gonna be the last one. We've been doing this for how long now? Oh my God. Yeah, we've been doing this for about an hour and 30 minutes. Jesus. Oga Poga, Mr. Dragon. Yeah, Mr. Dragon. There we go. Great videos. You have been helpful with my trading. Nice, man. Can you look at Hive blockchain mining stock? Okay, that's Canadian exchange. All right, so it's Hive, and I should be looking for TSXV. Yep, there we go. Okay, cool. Let's go to a daily. Did you give a time frame? No, you did not. But we can look at a daily here. All right, let's actually look at a weekly. This one looks like it actually has history. Okay, very good. Okay, very good. Long-term up, yes, golden cross, closed on new all-time highs. Monthly is probably gonna be the same thing as well. Yep, closed on new all-time highs. So I would be long-term still bullish on this one. Daily, does it have a little bit more downside to go? Maybe it does come back down, fill the gap at about $4, but again, I'd be looking at that as an opportunity. This one is bullish on all higher-term timeframes. Shorter-term timeframes, if they do take a stab down to like I said, what is this, like $4? I'd look at that as an opportunity. Maybe a little bit of short, to kind of wrap it up, a little bit of short-term downside. Long-term, though, good. So cool. Anyways, I think that's just about it. Should we go back and wrap up on Bitcoin? Yeah, I think we should actually. So we'll go back here. Let's wrap this bitch up. So Elsa's ready. And okay, so we got this on the lower-term timeframes. We got this over here. This is what I want to start off with alongside the accumulation distribution indicator. Okay, sweet. All right. Bitcoin coming into the, no, let me take a sip of this water, man. I'm fucking thirsty right now. Jesus. There we go. A little sippy sip is good for the soul. Bitcoin monthly did close above the topside trend band once again, of which that does set in the bias for March, that I would be looking for any sort of a move back down to the topside trend band as a major opportunity. That currently is right below $40,000, anywhere between about $39,000 to $40,000 where I'd be looking at as a nice little zone. Does that mean that Bitcoin has to come back down and test it? No, it doesn't. But overall, it does set in the bias for the month to come alongside the accumulation distribution indicator, which has actually been perfect for the long term on Bitcoin, calling the long term trends. And we do see that not only Bitcoin has a positive slope, or sorry, the accumulation distribution indicator has a positive slope coming into the month of March, but it has actually increased its curvature here, which does imply more or less good things over the long period of time. And again, you are more than free to backtest this yourself. It's a free and available indicator, just called the accumulation distribution indicator with markers. I think like Dov Cosbury made it. And and that will, well, essentially call all of the major macro cycles here. Also, it should be noted that MACD histogram did increase, so not only do we have new all-time highs with it, but it is literally increasing momentum right now. So the long term still looking good, but does that mean that Bitcoin is just blindly bullish on all timeframes? No, actually, no, it does not, because on the lower term timeframes, we do have hidden bearish divergence potentially in progress here. It is not confirmed just yet, as notified by Caretakers RSI. We do see that it is potential, and that will be confirmed with any sort of a closure below the last 2-hour low, which is 46,040 bucks on BitMexico. Check your exchange; it will be different there, obviously. And if that does happen, I would be looking for another drive back down to about the $43,000 base right here, the lows of yesterday. Does Bitcoin get a continuation drive below it after that? Perhaps yes, but my point is that based off of the higher term timeframes, I'd look at any sort of a move towards 40,000 bucks, give or take a few bucks off that territory as a major opportunity. So that really does set in the long-term bias. I imagine that's probably also where something on the that's also where the weekly 9 exponential moving average is coming in as well, in the low $40,000 region. So any sort of move down there, I do look at that again as a major opportunity. Long term, I'd still be bullishly inclined. We do see that lower term time frame momentum oscillators are actually going to be coming into contact with this trend line right here. Here's your buy hourly. So if it is going to play off that, we'd expect to kind of to start to turn down. Probably this next closure or two. Hourly is already turning down. 3 hour is going to be, well, having a very similar trend line there too. And then 4 hour, you can already visualize this one as well. But all of these lower term timeframes are starting to build up hidden divergences. Now the 2 hour technically is not confirmed, but so what we look for is a 2 hour to confirm. That likely bleeds on over into the 4 hour, as it is potential right now, as we do see higher highs on RSI with potentially lower highs on price action. But this one obviously going to take some time. So first, I want to see the 2 hour confirm. If this confirms again below 46,000 bucks, boom, I'd be having a short-term downside move to about 44.5. That bleeds on over into the 4 hour and can drive targets lower. If that gives us the early move within this month of March down to our monthly supports, that's where I look at a long-term potential trade and long-term major opportunities. Of course, this is not financial advice, I'm not a financial advisor, but I do like a lot of these things kind of coming into confluence together, and I believe that is going to be a great place to leave off today. Should also talk about the upside as well, obviously, so that it can be a fair about the trader. But at the end of the day, you know, what would undo that divergence? Well, Bitcoin's kind of working on lower highs here as long as we're below, especially like 48,500-ish region. So if Bitcoin does actually take out 48.5 to the upside, it's not really relevant for the medium or higher term timeframes just yet. It would be relevant for the short term timeframes and very likely inspire a short term timeframe move of about 2,000 to 3,000 bucks, anywhere around 50,000 to 51,000 bucks. That's where the medium term timeframe range does change. If Bitcoin can close a 2 hour or 4 hour dildo above 51,000, I would look for a bigger move up to about 55,000 bucks up here. That's where the long term is once again trending to the upside and threatening new all-time highs in line with the monthly look here too. Do I think that happens? Yes, I do. Do I think that happens before downside? Probably not. No. I do think that Bitcoin likely fulfills the downside first. At least that's where I see an edge, and then probably pops back up. So with all of that in mind, you know, one thing before the next, I do feel a lot more confident about the higher term timeframes here rather than lower term timeframes. So I imagine by the time we come back either later today or tomorrow, we'll have a lot more clarity on the short term timeframe situation. But as you can see, there's plenty of potential in there right now, albeit unconfirmed. So it's going to be a little bit of a waiting. I imagine around the time that traditional markets open, we'll start to see moves once again. And that would be a great place to end this stream. So once again, I'd like to wish you the best of the best. It's been an absolute pleasure. Been some fun times, some fun conversations. And I will salute you. And well, until next time.